The influence of Stoicism in modern times. Consider this. Right now, you have the ability to turn your most difficult obstacles into your most significant successes. But how, you ask? Today we'll delve deep into the essence of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has helped people flourish in hardship and find peace in the midst of chaos for millennia. This timeless wisdom provides a foundation for facing life's challenges with resilience, encouraging us to focus on what we can control while letting go of what we cannot. Consider the last time you encountered a circumstance that tried your patience or undermined your confidence. How did you reply? Were you prisoners of your immediate responses? Or did you choose a response that reflected your underlying values and beliefs? This is where Stoicism excels. It inspires us to face life's obstacles with courage, wisdom, and composure. Instead of being swept away by emotions, Stoicism teaches us to halt, ponder, and act rationally. Stoicism is fundamentally concerned with mastering our responses rather than suppressing our feelings. Today, we'll look at a profound notion based on ancient knowledge that is stunningly applicable in today's world. The skill of training your mind to respond rather than react. This distinction is significant. Reacting is impulsive, typically motivated by fear, wrath, or frustration, whereas reacting necessitates awareness, self-discipline, and careful thought. Learning to respond rather than react changes how we approach situations, promoting resilience and inner serenity. This notion goes beyond just regulating one's anger or being calm under duress. It is about developing a strong sense of mindfulness and groundedness in the present moment. When we exercise this level of awareness, we gain the ability to face life's ups and downs with grace and intention. Rather than letting external situations influence our mental state, we learn to remain stable regardless of what life throws at us. The Stoics, ancient philosophers famed for their practical approach to life, believed in focusing on what was genuinely important. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus all emphasized that true happiness stems from an interior state of virtue and wisdom rather than external success. By changing our thinking and accepting Stoic ideals, we can develop inner strength, remain unaffected by negativity, and approach every situation with clarity and serenity. In today's fast-paced, unpredictable world, Stoic teachings are more relevant than ever. Whether dealing with business stress or managing personal relationships, the ability to respond deliberately rather than hastily can lead to better decisions and a more rewarding life. By implementing Stoic concepts into our everyday routines, we enable ourselves to live with purpose, resilience, and a sense of tranquility that is unaffected by external circumstances. Finally, Stoicism provides a timeless instrument for overcoming life's obstacles. It reminds us that while we cannot control everything that happens to us, we can always choose how we react, and that response contains our true power. Understanding react versus respond, a Stoic perspective. The Stoics had a lot to say about the distinction between reaction and response. They believed that while we may not be able to control the events that happen to us, we can affect how we understand and respond to them. This fundamental principle is at the heart of Stoicism. It encourages us to focus on what we can control, fostering a separation from external events and an anchoring in our own reasons and choices. By transforming our perspective from reaction to response, we create better emotional resilience and wisdom. Stoic wisdom motivates us to pause, consider, and pick a path of action that is reasoned and deliberate rather than impulsive and reactive. But why is this important? Think about the extent to which our stress, regret, and dissatisfaction originate from impulsive responses to the words or actions of others. A harsh word, an unexpected challenge, or a challenging scenario frequently elicits an immediate emotional response, one we may later regret. Imagine being able to remain calm, centered and thinking even while your surroundings are hectic. This change isn't only about gaining peace of mind, it's about becoming a more effective, compassionate and resilient person. When you learn to respond with intention rather than react out of impulse, you generate better outcomes, not only for yourself, but also for those around you. Your relationships improve, your capacity to handle problems grows, and you gain a sense of control over your own emotions and behaviors. These attributes have the potential to completely change the way you live your life. In today's discussion, we'll look at numerous ways for developing this responsive attitude that draw on both current psychology and Stoic philosophy. One of the most important techniques is to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness enables you to become more aware of your thoughts and emotions before they influence your behavior. When you practice mindfulness, you create a mental space between an external occurrence and your reaction, allowing you to decide how to respond. Another crucial part is learning to recognize your triggers. We often react emotionally to certain situations as a result of previous experiences, unresolved emotions, or set behaviors. By recognizing these triggers, you can begin to interrupt the loop of automatic responses. Instead of allowing emotions to drive your conduct, you can use your rational mind to select a response that is consistent with your values and long-term goals. Finally, the distinction between reacting and responding is one of being governed by external circumstances and taking charge of your own life. The Stoics realized that ultimate freedom came from mastering one's own thoughts. Mindfulness, self-awareness, and intentional decision-making can help us develop the ability to respond with wisdom, patience, and clarity. This unlocks a great weapon for facing life's adversities with grace and perseverance. The importance of responding rather than reacting in the contemporary world. It is more important than ever to acquire the ability to express emotions constructively while maintaining a perspective on the broader context in the fast-paced world of today. The Stoics mastered this capacity to pause, reflect, and respond thoughtfully centuries ago. The adoption of their wisdom provides us with a potent arsenal of tools to effectively confront the obstacles of life with clarity and poise. By the conclusion of this conversation, you will possess strategies that will enable you to reflect, evaluate, and respond with mindfulness to any situation that may arise. Let us begin this journey together, relying on the strength of our own minds and the wisdom of Stoicism to improve our experiences and interactions. The profound teachings of Stoicism are echoed in the realm where every thought and action is deliberate, as we comprehend the essence of responding over reacting. In our contemporary high-pressure world, the Stoics, those venerable sages of ancient Greece and Rome, held a perspective on life that is remarkably relevant. They underscored the significance of controlling one's emotions and reactions, emphasizing that genuine power is not found in the control of external events, but in the control of our response to them. This distinction between reacting and responding is essential for the development of emotional intelligence, discernment, and resilience. However, what is the significance of this? Imagine that you are in a high-pressure meeting at work or are confronted with a challenging personal situation. Frequently, the default human response is to react instinctively, propelled by an immediate surge of emotions. Our initial response is seldom the most advantageous, regardless of whether it is frustration, anger, or apprehension. Although this reaction is entirely natural, it is rarely advantageous. A reactive response can result in regret, obscure judgment, and the escalation of conflict. Conversely, by instructing ourselves to respond rather than react, we grant ourselves the privilege of choice. We enter a state of intentionality and awareness rather than being governed by transient emotions. This does not entail the suppression of emotions. Rather, it involves the recognition of them, the comprehension of their origin, and the selection of a course of action that is consistent with our values and long-term objectives. This method promotes improved decision-making, fortifies relationships, and mitigates unnecessary tension. Stoicism teaches us that we can preserve our interior tranquility in the face of chaos by concentrating solely on our thoughts, actions, and reactions. In the current digital era, where social media and immediate communication frequently promote impulsive reactions, this perspective is particularly advantageous. Whether in personal relationships, professional settings, or public discourse, a single instant of thoughtless reactivity can have lasting consequences. We are provided with the resources necessary to confront obstacles with wisdom and poise by engaging in the practices of emotional regulation, self-awareness, and mindfulness. By responding thoughtfully rather than impulsively, we can establish more meaningful connections, transform our interactions, and cultivate a more harmonious existence. By acquiring this skill, we not only enhance our own well-being, but also make a positive impact on a more considerate and compassionate world. In the long term, impulsive reactions can exacerbate conflicts, erode relationships, and result in decisions that we may later regret. This is the point at which Stoic wisdom is most evident. The Stoics advocated for a life that was governed by virtue and rational thought, adhering to the principles of nature and reason. By adopting this philosophy, we acquire the ability to observe our initial impulses, analyze them with a rational mind, and determine a course of action that is consistent with our fundamental values and long-term objectives. Take a moment to pause when confronted with a precipitating event in order to respond rather than react. It involves stepping back to observe not only the external situation, but also your internal response to it. This reflective pause enables you to evaluate a variety of outcomes and select one that is rational, balanced, and, most importantly, within your control. The capacity to engage with situations thoughtfully and with greater wisdom is developed rather than allowing emotions to dictate your behavior. This Stoic approach does not entail the suppression of emotions or the denial of their existence. Rather, it entails the recognition of emotions, the comprehension of their origins, and the determination of whether and how they should affect one's behavior. Regardless of external circumstances, this process enables you to engage with the world in a manner that preserves your interior peace and integrity. In your daily life, you develop a sense of stability and resilience when you become cognizant of your emotional triggers and engage in self-regulation skills. The significance of responding rather than reacting is not limited to personal tranquility. It also has a direct effect on the quality of your relationships, the efficacy of your leadership, and your capacity to manage adversity. By responding with consideration, you exhibit empathy, comprehension, and respect for the perspectives and experiences of others. This, in turn, encourages more constructive and meaningful interactions. A composed and thoughtful response can foster open dialogue, create trust, and diffuse tension, regardless of whether it is used in personal or professional relationships. Training the mind to respond rather than react necessitates more than just intention. It necessitates deliberate and sustained effort. Building this habit necessitates mindfulness, self-reflection, and a dedication to personal development, similar to the disciplined practices advocated by the Stoics. This skill can be developed through daily practices such as cognitive reframing, journaling, and meditation. By creating a habit of pausing before responding, questioning initial impulses, and prioritizing reason over emotion, we gradually transform our automatic reactions into thoughtful responses. The Stoics provide immutable insights that serve as a foundation for the development of a responsive mindset in the fast-paced world of today. Their teachings serve as a reminder that genuine fortitude is not found in the manipulation of external events, but in the control of our own minds. The capacity to navigate challenges with wisdom, fortitude, and clarity is developed by incorporating these principles into our daily lives. By doing so, we not only enhance our own well-being, but also contribute to a more thoughtful and harmonious world. The pause and the influence of self-awareness. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of a responsive mind as opposed to a reactive one. Self-awareness, a fundamental component of Stoic philosophy, is the foundation of this transformation. The Stoics underscored the significance of introspection, which involves comprehending one's own thoughts, emotions, and motivations. In our context, this entails the development of a more acute awareness of our emotional and mental states. You acquire the capacity to effectively regulate your thoughts and emotions by becoming aware of them, as opposed to being influenced by them. This degree of self-awareness enables you to identify the inception of emotional responses, thereby enabling you to intervene prior to an impulsive response. The practice of pausing is one of the most effective instruments for enhancing self-awareness. This straightforward yet profound approach grants us the ability to regulate our responses. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, frequently discussed the space between stimulus and response, a space in which we possess the ability to determine our actions. We establish an opportunity to distance ourselves from our immediate impulses by establishing a habit of pausing, even for a brief period. This pause can manifest in a variety of ways, such as a brief meditation, a moment of reflection, or a deep inhalation. In this area, we can engage in a dialogue with our inner Stoic, inquiring, what virtue is required at this time? What response is consistent with my most authentic self? This brief respite not only prevents us from reacting impulsively, but also enables us to act with intention and wisdom. We transition from being emotionally compelled to becoming rational and composed when we take a step back. This method promotes improved decision-making, reduces tension, and improves our capacity to navigate challenging situations with clarity and grace. Eventually, it becomes instinctive to pause before responding, allowing us to engage with life in a more thoughtful and contemplative way. Reframing our perspective is another critical approach to cultivating a responsive mindset. The Stoics were adept at employing this technique to preserve composure in the presence of adversity. Reframing is the deliberate decision to view a situation from a different perspective, one that diminishes its emotive impact and reveals alternative methods of interaction. For example, a Stoic would perceive an obstacle as an opportunity for self-improvement, resilience, and growth, rather than as a source of frustration. We can control our emotional responses and convert challenges into valuable learning experiences by altering our perception of them. This mentality not only enhances our overall resilience, but also enables us to maintain a sense of tranquility and composure in the present. The capacity to reframe situations enables us to navigate life with a sense of empowerment, as we are aware that our perspective significantly influences our experience rather than external events. Ultimately, the art of reframing, the practice of halting, and self-awareness are three potent strategies that allow us to respond rather than react. These Stoic principles enable us to confront life's obstacles with clarity and purpose by fostering the development of wisdom, fortitude, and emotional equilibrium. We are inching closer to our most rational, highest selves by integrating these practices into our daily existence, focusing on what we can control and reframing perspectives. we can reframe a challenging work situation as an opportunity to develop and exhibit resilience rather than as a threat. This straightforward change in perspective alters our emotional responses and creates new opportunities for action. We have the option to perceive challenges as valuable learning experiences rather than allowing them to overwhelm us. By altering our internal narrative, we gain control over our emotions and confront life's obstacles with a sense of purpose and composure. The Stoics were fervent proponents of prioritizing what we can influence and relinquishing what we cannot. This principle continues to be profoundly pertinent in the present day. By engaging in this mindset, we acquire the ability to allocate our energy effectively, focusing our efforts on our thoughts, actions, and decisions rather than being devoured by external circumstances. This does not entail becoming indifferent or passive in the face of life's obstacles. On the contrary, it entails acknowledging the source of our genuine authority and acting with intention and integrity. Inner calm and resilience are fostered through the deliberate selection of our responses to circumstances. Consistent self-examination and reflection are additional essential practices for cultivating a responsive mindset. The Stoics conducted daily self-assessment, which involved a review of their actions, thoughts, and progress toward virtue. We acquire valuable insights into our development by dedicating time at the conclusion of each day to contemplate our responses to a variety of circumstances. Instances in which we responded thoughtfully can be celebrated, and we can learn from those in which we reacted impulsively. Our capacity to navigate life with wisdom and equilibrium is enhanced by this ongoing process of self-improvement. Not only do we honor the Stoics' legacy by incorporating these strategies into our daily lives, but we also empower ourselves to live with greater purpose, calmness, and effectiveness. Through consistent practice, we are able to reshape our thought patterns, directing our minds toward responses that are consistent with our most profound values and aspirations. This transformation does not occur immediately. However, with perseverance, we can cultivate the capacity to maintain a sense of purpose and composure in any circumstance. This voyage is significantly influenced by mindfulness. Mindfulness is fundamentally about the development of a profound awareness of the present moment. It entails the act of observing our thoughts, emotions, and sensations without judgment, which enables us to comprehend their nature and influence. By engaging in mindfulness, we are in accordance with the Stoic principle of living with awareness and purpose, thereby establishing a strong connection to the present moment. Rather than reacting reflexively, this conscious presence allows us to respond thoughtfully. Ultimately, the development of a resilient and responsive mindset necessitates the practice of self-reflection, the cultivation of mindfulness, the reframing of perspectives, and the focus on what is within our control. By adopting these Stoic principles, we can enhance our emotional intelligence, transform our interactions, and live a life that is focused on wisdom and purpose. We transition from passive recipients of life circumstances to active participants by engaging in daily practice, which allows us to shape our experiences with clarity and intention. Mindfulness exercises for a Stoic lifestyle. The sole juncture in which we possess the capacity to act is the present. Mindfulness is a practice that enables us to cultivate a Stoic lifestyle by fostering emotional equilibrium, focus, and increased awareness. Focused attention exercises, such as breath meditation, are an effective method for developing mindfulness. The mind is trained to maintain attention and gradually return to its point of focus when it wanders by observing the breath, noticing each inhale and exhale. This practice is not solely about relaxation. It functions as a mental training ground, improving our capacity to remain focused and attentive in the face of life's obstacles and distractions. Mindful observation is another essential mindfulness practice that can be implemented in any daily activity, thereby converting even the most mundane moments into opportunities for self-awareness. Focus and presence are enhanced through the practice of complete engagement with the activity at hand, whether it be eating, walking, or engaging in routine duties. In addition to enriching the experience, the capacity to remain attentive and responsive in a variety of situations is also enhanced by the act of observing every detail with curiosity and openness. We ensure that we act with intention rather than being carried away by impulse, by training the mind to be completely present, thereby cultivating the Stoic virtue of awareness. Another potent technique that cultivates body awareness and presence is body scan meditation. This method entails the meticulous examination of various regions of the body, with the goal of identifying and releasing any accumulated emotions and tensions. It enables us to establish a more profound connection with our physical selves and to cultivate an understanding of the ways in which somatic sensations affect our thoughts and emotions. The Stoics underscored the significance of recognizing the body's experiences without allowing them to unduly influence the rational mind. Our capacity to manage emotions with clarity and composure is improved by incorporating body awareness into our mindfulness practice. Relationships and communication can also be transformed by integrating mindfulness into interactions with others. Deeper comprehension and connection are fostered by being fully present in conversations, listening attentively, and observing without judgment. This practice is consistent with the Stoic principle of empathy and the acknowledgement that others are rational beings who are also navigating their own challenges and experiences. By engaging with others in a mindful manner, we foster compassion and patience, thereby guaranteeing that our responses are deliberate rather than reactive. By incorporating these mindfulness practices into our daily routines, we cultivate the capacity to maintain a sense of equilibrium in the face of adversity. The Stoics espoused that genuine fortitude is derived from the ability to control our actions and perceptions rather than being influenced by external events. We embody this philosophy by training ourselves to engage with the world thoughtfully, manage emotions effectively, and focus on the present moment through the practice of mindfulness. These practices gradually solidify the Stoic principles of self-awareness, resilience, and wisdom, enabling us to confront life's obstacles with clarity and composure. By adopting mindfulness, we not only enhance our own interior tranquility, but also our ability to positively impact those in our vicinity, thereby establishing a life of harmony and purpose. Incorporating response over reaction into daily life. The Stoics walked a path that we can emulate by adopting mindfulness practices, which promote greater clarity, tranquility, and efficacy in our actions. We embody the essence of a Stoic-inspired existence by equipping ourselves with the tools to respond to life's inevitable challenges with grace, wisdom, and composure as we cultivate a mindful presence. We should now direct our attention to the practical application of these insights, with the objective of establishing a lifestyle in which deliberate responses supplant reactive impulses. The process of transitioning to response over reaction does not involve the suppression of inherent reflexes. Rather, it is about enhancing our interaction with life, which is reminiscent of the Stoic virtue of living with deliberate intention and rationality. In order to completely embody these principles, it is imperative to establish daily practices that reinforce the art of responding rather than reacting. The cultivation of this habit necessitates a dedication to mindfulness in all interactions, as well as self-awareness and forbearance. Consider a circumstance that presents a challenge, such as an unexpected setback or a disagreement at work. The immediate reaction may be visceral, motivated by frustration or disappointment. Nevertheless, this is the time to apply Stoic wisdom, to reflect and contemplate the broader perspective, inquiring as to what actions a Stoic philosopher would take, establishes a mental environment that enables reason to prevail over impulsive emotion. This inquiry is not about suppressing emotions, rather, it is about utilizing the rational mind to objectively assess the situation and identify constructive responses. This method does not eradicate emotions, rather, it redirects them in a constructive manner. Emotions are valuable and natural indicators of our internal state. However, they should not be used to guide our actions without consideration. We can determine the most effective course of action that is consistent with our values and long-term objectives by recognizing our emotions, comprehending their causes, and conducting a thorough evaluation. This methodical approach discourages regretful reactions and encourages more informed decision-making. In practical terms, this could entail taking a brief walk to clear your mind before responding to a provocative email. It may entail the practice of deep breathing exercises prior to engaging in a conflict, or the act of counting to 10 before participating in an intense discussion. These modest yet impactful interventions generate moments of awareness, enabling us to select a response that aligns with our highest self rather than a transient emotional impulse. Over time, these behaviors reinforce a mindset of thoughtful engagement rather than reactionary behavior. Furthermore, it is imperative to develop perseverance and perspective. The Stoics frequently contemplated the impermanence of life and the insignificance of daily minor irritations in the context of the greater whole. We alleviate the emotional burden of immediate frustrations by reminding ourselves of this broader perspective. This approach can be further solidified through journaling, meditation, and daily reflection on Stoic teachings, thereby ensuring that responding with wisdom becomes second nature. In the end, the act of responding rather than reacting has a transformative effect on not only our personal lives, but also on the way we influence those in our vicinity. We can cultivate stronger relationships, increase our resilience, and confront life's obstacles with confidence and integrity by selecting deliberate responses. By adhering to these principles on a daily basis, we can embody the Stoic ideal of living with emotional mastery, virtue, and reason. Practical strategies for fostering a responsive lifestyle. You reinforce a pattern of deliberate engagement with life's challenges each time you opt to respond rather than react. This practice cultivates a greater sense of peace and satisfaction, deepens self-awareness, and nurtures resilience. By practicing the ability to pause before reacting, you establish a space for wisdom and intention to direct your actions rather than allowing transient emotions to take control. This change is not an instantaneous transformation. Rather, it is a lifelong practice that has the potential to effect profound personal transformation. Self-reflection is one of the most effective methods for developing this habit. Begin by analyzing your emotional triggers. Instead of immediately reacting to conflict or adversity, ask yourself, what is genuinely upsetting me? Frequently, the superficial irritant is merely a symptom of a more profound issue. You can more effectively address concerns by gaining insight into your emotional landscape and looking beyond the immediate frustration. This awareness enables you to respond with lucidity rather than impulse, resulting in more meaningful outcomes and healthier interactions. The impact of this approach is further augmented by incorporating it into daily routines. Begin each day with a moment of introspection, establishing a commitment to approach situations with a combination of patience and logical thinking. A straightforward morning affirmation such as, "Today I will respond with wisdom and composure," can establish the foundation for a more contemplative day. Another potent instrument for cultivating responsiveness is journaling. Each evening, dedicate a few minutes to contemplating the manner in which you confronted obstacles, acknowledging accomplishments, and pinpointing areas for development. This practice enhances self-awareness and reinforces the habit of making deliberate decisions. Training the mind to respond rather than react is a critical component of mindfulness techniques, in addition to reflection. By engaging in grounding exercises, meditation, or deep breathing, a buffer is established between the stimulus and the response. Even a single deep inhalation taken prior to speaking can have a substantial impact in a stressful situation. These instances of mindfulness offer the necessary space to evaluate a situation rationally rather than being carried away by emotional impulses. Adopting a perspective of perpetual learning and adaptation is another critical component of fostering a responsive lifestyle. There will be instances in which you react rather than respond. As no one is flawless, view these instances as opportunities for learning rather than dwelling on them. Each obstacle offers an opportunity to enhance and perfect your capacity to maintain composure in high-pressure situations. The capacity to respond thoughtfully becomes more instinctive with each effort, and growth is a result of persistence. Ultimately, the adoption of this approach is not solely about tension reduction or conflict management. It is about embracing a lifestyle that is founded on Stoic principles. The term intentionality refers to the commitment to aligning one's actions with one's most cherished values and the pursuit of wisdom in every interaction. You contribute to a world that is more reasoned, compassionate, and resilient by making responsiveness a cornerstone of your daily existence. The transition from reaction to response is a transformative experience. It encourages us to engage with life on a more profound level, thereby enhancing our relationships and fortifying our character. We acquire the capacity to navigate life's obstacles with grace by engaging in practice, forbearance, and self-awareness, thereby guaranteeing that our responses are indicative of our most effective selves. The path forward with Stoic wisdom. The process of developing a responsive mindset is not merely a matter of exercising self-control in isolated instances. It involves the integration of a deliberate, mindful approach into the very fabric of our lives. The Stoics trod this path with diligence and dedication, and now, with their wisdom guiding us, we can aspire to navigate life's challenges with grace, equanimity, and rationality. The potential to live with greater clarity, purpose, and resilience is unlocked by embodying the true essence of Stoicism in our modern era. Stoicism fundamentally instructs us to concentrate on what is within our power, to behave rationally, and to pursue virtue. Adopting these principles enables us to respond to the inevitable ups and downs of life with a composed mind and an open heart. Adversity is inevitable, and the world is unpredictable. However, we have complete control over how we respond to these obstacles. This realization in itself can be profoundly liberating, as it liberates us from the chaos of reactive impulses and enables us to enter a state of tranquil, measured response. This dedication to response over reaction is an opportunity that arises at every moment. Each situation presents an opportunity to embody the Stoic virtues of wisdom, fortitude, justice, and temperance, whether we are confronted with daily frustrations, significant life setbacks, or critical decisions. By doing so, we not only improve our own well-being, but also make a positive impact on the lives of those in our vicinity, reinforcing the notion that genuine power is not found in the control of external events, but in the mastery of oneself. A composed and thoughtful demeanor can serve as a source of inspiration and fortitude for others. The process of mastering response over reaction is a continuous one, characterized by continuous learning and development. In the same way as the Stoics, it is imperative that we adopt the discipline of self-reflection, routinely evaluating our progress and making the requisite adjustments. This practice ensures that we remain in accordance with our most cherished principles and enhances our capacity to act with wisdom and integrity. The dedication to personal development is not merely an individual pursuit. It has a significant impact on the world around us, influencing the world in meaningful ways, fortifying our communities and forming our relationships. As we conclude this investigation, it is important to remember that each moment presents a decision, an opportunity to embody the wisdom, resilience, and tranquility that Stoicism advocates for. Our responses serve as the threads that weave our character together in the vast fabric of life. We construct an existence that is a reflection of our most profound values and aspirations with each deliberate decision. Although the path of mindful response is not always straightforward, it is one that is well worth traversing. An existence of increased harmony, inner peace and strength is the result. May you continue to discover peace in your voyage, virtue in your actions, and clarity in your thoughts as you progress. We appreciate your willingness to embark on this journey of wisdom with us. May your future be enriched by the enduring fortitude of Stoic philosophy, purposeful action, and thoughtful choices.